Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're trying to scale your business, this video is for you. And for any new listeners, anyone who's just joining us, my name is Alexander Vallejo. I own a marketing and consulting agency that specializes in healthcare service businesses, as well as we do work with some plumbers, electricians, but overall, I'm in the service-based industry. So the first topic I wanted to bring up is that more leads isn't more revenue, it's just more noise, unless you qualify them. Because the one thing I hate most is when marketing agencies say, hey, we're gonna get you 100 leads in 30 days. That's great, but leads aren't anything until they actually walk through the door. And the big issue is that if I bring you leads and you're not qualifying them, they cost double. Right? They not only cost your money because you have to pay for them, but they also cost your team members' times, your employees' times, okay? What we always do, and the one thing that we always preach is that when a lead comes in, the first thing you need to do is qualify them, okay? With dental practices, if you are a dental practice that uses insurance, you're in network with certain insurances, then you need to be asking them, what insurances do you use, okay? If you are a dental practice that doesn't work with insurance, again, what you should be saying is, hey, you understand that we don't work with certain insurances, but we're still gonna get you the best result. And even if you're a dental practice, or again, you're any healthcare that works with insurances, even if you are in network with insurances and they don't have that insurance, or they don't have any insurances, you should still be trying to get them in some way, somehow, unless they are horribly price sensitive, okay? If people are price sensitive, it doesn't matter what you give them, what options, what financing options you give them, they're just not gonna be good. But again, what you need to do on that first phone call is you need to be qualifying them. Are they gonna be someone that's gonna do well for us, or are they gonna be someone that's just really gonna just waste our time? We do the same thing when we work with a new practice. We need to qualify them. More importantly, not just qualify them, but we also need to see where their issues come from, right? And so when we first start working with someone new, the first thing we do is we don't just walk in. I start my audit way before. I actually do ghost calls to these practices to see if they're actually picking up the phone. And it'd be funny enough, a lot of practices won't even pick up the phone. If they're dealing with one patient already, what they should do is tell the patient, hey, can I put you on hold for 5 seconds? No one will ever say no to that. You put them on hold, you answer this phone call, you say, hey, thank you for calling us, we really appreciate it. We're dealing with an unnatural amount of call volume. Please wait for 2 minutes, okay? You put them on hold and you go back to this one and you solve it. And then after that, you go back here. But again, no call should ever go all 4 or 5 rings all the way to voicemail. And it's funny because some of the practices we've seen, and one of them I recently called, I called them at like 4:45 and they closed at 5:30 that day. And not only did the phone call go all 4 rings, but it also said at the end, hey, sorry, we're closed at this hour. But online and everywhere, Google Business Profile, their website, it all said they close at 5:30. So the one thing, especially if you're a doctor or you're the business owner, you need to be testing and you need to be auditing your own receptionist, because the leak could even start before the client or the patient even comes into the business. The leak could be coming from the front. It could be coming from a wall that your receptionist is putting up, okay? And again, it's not their fault sometimes. If they are doing it maliciously, you gotta get them out. But if 9.9 times out of 10, they're not doing it maliciously. So you just have to make sure that there's systems in place and you're training them properly. One thing we always also tell clients is, let's say the receptionist is dealing with insurances, okay? You need to wait on priority, okay? Obviously, insurances are super, super needed, especially if you're in network and you need to get money out of them, okay? But if you're dealing with an AI robot and that's taking forever, and you have a real person coming on the phone line, what you can do is either put the AI robot on hold and then answer this one fully. Do not tell the real life human, hey, wait for 5 minutes. Because again, with all this new technology, AI is ramping up a lot, but it's not there 100% yet. and it's gonna take some time. So what you wanna do is, again, if you put your insurance on hold, the AI robot on hold, and they hang up, that's fine. You can always call them back. But a new lead, the chance that they call you and then you call them back 10, even 15 minutes later, and they already called another dentist and maybe another dentist already took them in and put them in the schedule, is very high. Especially when you have a new lead, you have an emergency case. Those people are looking for a dentist and they're looking for availability, really. And if you're not gonna pick up the phone call on the first try, or on the first couple rings, or really in the first phone call, you basically spent money for nothing. So when we start with our audit, because again, we do the marketing and consulting, we do need to audit every single business that we work with, okay? Again, if you wanna do this all on your own, all power to you, you should be doing this. But what we do when we take a step into the business is, this is how the timeline works. 1 month we estimate for onboarding. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks, sometimes it takes 1 month. But again, we give the full length of a month, and then if it comes in earlier, great. Then we don't just jump into consulting. What we do is we do marketing for a month. We took this idea from a specific show that I used to watch, which was called Bar Rescue with John Taffer. He would call it a stress test. What he would do is he'd come into these bars and he would pack them. You know, again, these bars were struggling, so for them to see 200 clients, 200 new faces at once, all trying to order, all trying to get food, you would see the mess just pour, right? Especially high-end bars, they're able to handle that. These low-end bars, especially the ones that needed help, they would just completely fail. But what he was trying to look for is, we all knew they were gonna fail, but he wanted to see where the leaks were happening. And that's what we do with the marketing. For the full month, we're bringing you, between 90 and 110 leads. Again, leads. What we see is not all of those leads are gonna convert into clients. We understand that. That's why we need to make sure that we are flooding the office when it comes to dentistry with leads and seeing where the holes are. If we bring you 100 leads and not a single one comes in the door, then now we know, okay, let's just review the phone calls that we recorded and let's see what's happening on that initial phone call. If, let's say, 20 of those 100 leads actually come in and only 19 of them stay for the first visit, and then those 19 never come back and only one stayed for 2, 3, 4+ visits, then we're able to see, okay, the issues within that first visit. What is it? Is it the culture? Is it the atmosphere? What we're able to do is diagnose specifically where the issues are actually coming from. That's why we like doing this stress test, is because we're not just a consulting agency, especially the big ones, they do this very often, that they will use blanket material for every single practice. And that doesn't help, okay? It might help for some systems, because again, some systems are copy and paste, they're black and white. You either have them or you don't. But when it comes to certain things, especially when it comes to dental practices, some practices use insurance. Some practices don't use insurance or aren't in network with insurance. So again, that means that that first phone call to qualify the lead, it's gonna have different ways of talking, okay? Different scripts. That's what I'm basically trying to get at. And so that's why we just stress test. Yes, it's 1 month that hopefully you should be able to get some leads, get some money in, but it's really for the higher converting, creating the systems, the consulting on the back end that we do to be able to see where are our efforts and where should our efforts be maximized. Once we are able to get a good audit on the practice, on where the issues are actually starting from, that's when we take the audit and we look for the solutions that we are going to play, okay? What we normally do is we do a 0 through 30 days, 0 through 45, 0 through 60, 0 through 180, actually no, 0 through 90, and then 180, and then 360, okay? The reason why is because you need to prioritize your fixes. If you do not prioritize the fixes in the system, then it's almost like when a lot of rain comes down on a dry desert. What happens? Flash flood. Why? Because the water cannot be absorbed. Same thing happens when it comes to a business. If you try to change everything at once in a system that's already broken, it's gonna be a flash flood. It's all not gonna be absorbed, maybe not all, but 90% of it, the majority of it. basically it's not helpful anymore. So that's why we break it up. So the 0 through 30 days is the highest priority things. For a lot of dental practices, it's the account receivable aging report. A practice that we worked with recently actually had 6 figures sitting in the 30 through 90 days in the accounts receivable. Okay, that is a US person's full year salary. And honestly, more than that, more than the average US salary was sitting in the 30 through 90 days. Obviously that's not normal, but we do see that the accounts receivable are mainly inflated because again, it's really hard to track down these people and it is difficult. But again, without the right systems, it's almost impossible. But to tie in with the 0 through 30 days, the 0 through 45 and so on, is also to make sure that we are giving ourselves the correct amount of allotted time to get those systems in place. And my partner says this really good saying that I want to bring here is that if you give yourself 2 hours to clean your room, it's going to take 2 hours. If you give yourself 30 days to clean your room, it's going to take 30 days. The task is going to expand or shrink to the time allotted that you give it. And that is why when we do these certain systems, when we implement these systems in the 0 through 30, we give ourselves 30 days to go from these systems not even being integrated to these systems being actively used on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis so that everything can seep into the soil and that it's not getting run off. The reason I'm able to talk so confidently on this is because we have the results. I've seen it. I've dealt with these practice owners. I've dealt with a lot of practices. I've dealt with a lot of businesses, okay? Again, we specialize in dentistry and healthcare, but I've dealt with plumbers, you know, the electricians, the HVACs of the world, the, you know, med spas, okay? And recently, we just started with one in January of 2026, and we're already up 18%, okay? And the industry average is around 3 to 7% for a dental practice, okay? So we're almost at 3, we're over 2.5x, okay, of the industry standard. And the reason we're able to do this is because again, not only we run ads, but again, as I said in a previous video, is that I can bring you all the leads in the world, but if you don't have the right system set up, it's not only a big mess, but it costs you money. And that's really kind of where the bread and butter of this increase is. In another example, you can have all the wind behind you on a sail ship, but if you have holes in the boat, you're not going to be going that far. So when you're looking to actually scale your practice or scale your business in general, what you first should do is obviously marketing is going to be needed. You need to spend money to make money. But before you even jump to that, especially if you are cost sensitive, if you don't have that much money to play around with, start fixing the problems in your business by doing an audit. There's a good saying that they say, if you get rid of your bad habit or your biggest bad habit, it's gonna make a bigger difference in your life than if you were to add a good one. So with that, if you have any questions, just please comment them down below. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe. I'm going to be putting out a lot more videos on similar topics. I will follow what people say in the comments. So if you have something specific that I should touch upon, definitely leave it down below, and see you in the next video.